first item on the agenda is Bishop's Grant, and if you would just give us a moment to review this latest resolution, we can talk about it more intelligently.
What I was going to do is actually
Go through it
really briefly.
Right.
So that way, might make things go a little faster. If you recall at the work session, and we'll submit maps, but this is a draft. One of the things, everything you see highlighted in yellow are little corrections, changes. The most significant was adding a 10-foot buffer on the perimeter here, and also showing the proposed curb extension out on North Main Street. And the others were just more or less, changing the owner's name now that we closed, providing some details, and also adding a reference to the fire protection easement on the map so that we know where that is located. In addition, we had revised the landscape plan, all of which we'll submit for your formal review. The other thing is I'm in receipt of, dated today, a letter from your council regarding the appraisal for the park fee, and we'll address that in further submissions as well. As far as as you know, back in March, we had a resolution granting final conditional approval. Based on our further review, both by this board and our office as well as my client, we came up with a number of these little details. So what we're proposing is for the board to consider a resolution to amend that resolution to address those details. And on the second page, you'll see a whereas clause that we've added, which would basically point out that originally you had a condition indicating that what was shown as a gravel driveway up on this flag on County Road 39 to be removed and revegetated. Well, actually, when this was originally approved in 2008, our client took care of that. The only thing that didn't change was Squires and Holden taking that off the map when we resubmitted it. So we've taken that off the map. That's already been completed. So that's the first change. The second change had to do with the building envelopes, which we talked about last month. They were on there. We added and revised the two notes. The third change was incorporating the 10-foot buffers, which was a recommendation from staff, which we talked about at the work session. That is shown on the map. The next thing was a recommendation from your village engineer about extending the curb out in the right-of-way of North Main Street up to the common driveway entrance, which is shown on the plan. And the last thing, substantive change that we're proposing, is the timing of when all these improvements have to be completed. Our client reviewed this, and originally your resolution says prior to a building permit being issued on the property, and what our client pointed out is the conflict of trying to get all these things in there and getting a building permit and completing the driveway and then have it all torn up as they're building. So the recommendation here would be to consider the change to allow a building permit to be issued, or building permits, but that there can be no conveyance of any lot. That protects a future lot owner, or all the driveway, and this includes all the improvements, which include the driveway, all the utilities, the fire hydrant, the hedge along the south side, as well as the curb. All would have to be completed prior to the issuance of the first certificate of occupancy. And so that's the substantive changes primarily, and the rest is just cleaning up the conditions either that were complied with, as you can see struck, and the added was the exact language for the notes. Condition number 3 is actually the terms of the covenants, which I have submitted already drafts to the village attorney to review, and these model that and modeled what Kathy has looked at in the past week as well. The last thing was just clarifying language on the easements. One is both the driveway and utility easement, and the last is the fire protection easement that allows the village the access as well as the ability to maintain the fire hydrant if the water authority doesn't maintain that. So they're the changes that we're proposing in the resolution. The hope would be that the board could consider that. That way we can have your exact direction so that we can finalize all this in the next month. I think we're at that point. We can review now, if you do give that direction, now the village attorney can look at the covenants and make sure that the language complies to what the resolution complies with.
But we're really not covering any new territory here. All this has been already discussed at our work session.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything we talked about was talked about last Monday, actually.
So it's writing it down and paying the tax, getting the tax assessed or paid. That's still being done, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So, Bo,
I've been with Wayne on this, reviewed it with him. I have no problem with any of these issues. The request to alter the condition on issuance of any permits to the first certificate of occupancy or sale lot is reasonable. And so, you know, it has my recommendation for approval.
What do I have to move? We approve it, right? Subject to writing it down and getting the tax assessment done.
I have a motion
Tax
for the...
assessment isn't until much later.
Didn't? It's not a precondition?
No.
Park fee.
Park fee?
Park fee,
And
the appraisal, that's,
Appraisal to get the park fee set.
yeah, that basically was always a condition, is getting the appraisal and having the board actually set the appraisal, or actually our acceptance of that, and now in light of the memo from the village
You know,
attorney.
What's
we'll-
happened, Alan, is that the appraisal was based upon the value of the lots as subdivided, which is incorrect. The correct valuation is the value of the land before subdivision.
Okay.
And so that has been confirmed, and there has been we're told, a bona fide arm's length contract of sale for this property. And I discussed it with Rick, and both he and I agree that that's a fair evaluation of the property. And so Wayne will submit that contract for review. And if that all works out, then that will determine the price of the property without having to go to an appraisal.
We'll not only submit the contract, but the deed recording information, which has actually closed.
So what
So I have a motion before the board to approve the amendment to the conditional approval of the final plat for the minor subdivision known as Bishop's Grant. Do I have a second?
Dated May 4, 2015.
aye,
All in favor?
in favor of approving.
Aye.
I got a copy in this file, right? Roy, I put it in this file. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
OIA Associates, 212 Windmill Lane has been adjourned.
Yeah, I did mention to Mr. Bennett today, he was going to review the appraisal. We don't really know, it's been a while ago that that was performed. And again, as you know, he's objected to the amount of park fee that results from that equation. But he was going to review and determine whether or not the appraisal had been based upon the subdivided lots or the land prior to the subdivision. So
Okay.
we should be able to have that information hopefully by the next
It
meeting.
just stays adjourned, right?
So that is
Well, with-
adjourned.
550 and 554 Hill Street, I would note that we have not received any reply from any of the other potential agent ordinance boards regarding SECRA lead agency status. In that case, this board would assume SECRA lead agency status. And may I have a motion to approve the planning board as the lead agent?
What does that look at? I'll move that.
All in favor? Aye. That said, we have a request from the applicant to adjourn this application until the May work session, June regularly scheduled meeting. So at the request of the applicant, may I have a motion to make that adjournment?
This is to do it on the 27th of May, meet about it on the 27th of May,
And the
And on the
June work session.
4th, or whatever it is of June.
Right.
I so move.
All in favor?
I moved on behalf of the applicant that that be the schedule.
So you are moving to approve the applicant's request to adjourn.
Yes. Until those dates.
Okay, the Southampton Real Estate Partners, I have a decision in the file.
For sketch plan approval.
Yep.
And a vote, affirmative vote on the motion will be to grant sketch plan approval for the application.
I move that we grant the sketch plan approval for the application for these 2 lots.
All in favor of the resolution approving the sketch plan? Aye. All right, so,
Is there an extra copy of that, or should I get it tomorrow?
There is, Gil, we'll get it to you.
Okay.
Alan, you want to get a copy of the Southampton RE Partners and give it to Gil?
We should be in this file?
It's in the file. It's an extra
We
issue.
should grant it.
the next application is
looking,
Beach
Gil.
Plum Meadows, 248 Moses Lane.
Alan, I think it's right here. Alan,
Hmm?
right here.
But I thought
Right
that
in
that
front
had
of you,
been
the top one.
adjourned.
It has,
Yes.
it's going to be, yeah, it has.
This one?
Because I understand there's going to be a meeting
That one?
Is
with
that it?
someone from the village and with the health department. That's supposed
No.
to happen in the middle of this month, so
No.
yeah, we
It
did
says,
indicate that it should be
Rain-
adjourned. And we'll
rain-
talk about that in the work session.
Yeah, Patrick Cleary
This
is
is North- two
going to
North
join
Mains.
the applicant with the Board of Health.
Correct. I think they're trying to do it around the 14th or the 15th, as I understand it. So until that happens, it makes sense to, I think we discussed that
But
in
we
the work
did,
session.
I think we did vote to adjurn it. Antoinette, is that correct?
I can pull it up.
I think you did too.
yeah, it's one of the, I know it's
I'm
one of
pretty
these.
sure we did.
Beach Pond, Conic Crease, Snow. Beach Pond.
Yes, it's adjourned to June 1st.
Thank you.
I gotta get Gil's motion.
In site plan review,
Still don't have any finality on the Habad, so that'll be adjourned for all purposes.
the Pelosi, Ialto, and Roller, 50 County Road 39, there a decision.
There is a decision, written decision in the file, conditionally approving the application as amended. An affirmative vote on that motion will be to approve the conditional approval.
And I have a motion to vote on the decision with regard to Pelosi, Ialto, and Roller.
I'll move a vote.
All in favor of this application? Aye.
Gil, there's a copy of the,
Mr. McFarland?
aye. I moved it, aye. Haven't spelled my,
You want to hand it to me?
haven't spelled my name right, but otherwise it's, I've approved it.
You could have made a paper airplane out of it.
Bernie, you may have to wait till tomorrow. I had 5 copies in there, there are none left.
I'll respell it.
There might be one.
Never mind.
Thank you.
Hope I didn't draw on it.
Not just this town. It's fine.
Determine to sit down and still get a copy.
Alan, is there an extra copy of the decision for Pelosi?
I just got one from Cat.
Yeah, but this gentleman wants, I'm sure he wants one of
Oh,
those.
Pelosi's decision is
Should be
2021.
on the left side there. The one sticking up, is that it?
Here. To 2045 now. 2045, 2021 here. If Pelosi's 2021, this is 2021, but there's nothing in it looks familiar.
In one of those, we had an extra copy.
Copy.
Is that an extra copy, Roy?
I do. No,
No, that's what we've got.
You can have mine.
I think you guys gotta give it to me. I
Okay.
don't think he's gonna reach from there.
No, oh,
Okay, we got him.
good move.
Well done.
Good move. This is in my pile, Bob. Oh, this one. Oh, that was
Okay,
your pile.
Crease Properties has been adjourned.
Yeah.
Peconic Land Trust, 296 Hampton Road.
This is a fairly new application, as you know, we discussed it briefly at the work session. And Since then, we've been in touch with Tim Rumpf, based on suggestions from your consultant, that the landscape plan be somewhat more formalized. Oh, I'm sorry. Since the work session, we've had some discussions with Tim Rumpf about a more formal landscaping plan, which works well because he's also in the process of developing a lighting and photometric plan. So I think that when we get to that, that should be pretty well complete, I would think. And I thank your consultant for having suggested that, so luckily Tim is coordinating both of those things. I think everything else is pretty much the same as it was at the pre-submission conference. The layout hasn't changed, the development hasn't changed. I think it should be fairly straightforward, given the circumstances.
Anything to add?
One of the things that I noted that should be noted for the file is that there were a couple of plans that were submitted as part of the pre-submission that should be made part of the application, so they don't have to submit extra copies of the survey, et cetera. We don't want to have them cut down more trees. It's already in the file, so there's a survey in the file as well as floor plans and elevations. So those should be made part of this application. But we're going through and making sure that all the calculations are correct, and we have, if questions come up, we will have, we'll put together a staff report.
And there's all the stuff on the south border, you know, all that stuff on the south, all that stuff's in it.
Yeah, we're going to put that stuff along the south border.
South border made everybody happy.
Yes, in fact, the neighbor to the south was very happy that we agreed to do that. It's even on his property. We agreed to do it on his property.
Okay.
And the other benefit that we had, the previous right-of-way, you may recall, actually encroached on
Yep.
this property, and we're eliminating that. But my hope would be, I think, at the next meeting, if we deem it complete, at least we could schedule it for a public hearing. That would be the next thing, which we hope to do.
Yep.
But I think we need to complete it before I don't think we can schedule it now. No. So, Mr. Plan, is your request to adjourn this for all purposes until the next meeting?
Yes.
I have a motion to adjourn at the request of the applicant, the Peconic Land Trust application, until the May work session, June regularly scheduled meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Last item on the agenda is flagpole lots, Skyfall Barnhart. The applicant.
As I mentioned, we are waiting for a survey to be submitted to the file, which the applicant had agreed to provide, but as of early this morning, it had not been provided, so we don't have a decision. I'm told that the survey has been tendered later this day, but there was not enough time to prepare the decision, so that should be adjourned then for all purposes to the next meeting.
I move that be adjourned for all purposes until the next meeting.
May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You weren't here April. I don't think who was here to approve all these minutes. I don't know if everybody.
Alan wasn't here.
Right.
Let me just pull up, I can pull up now.
Wait a minute, I missed something for the 27th of April. Yeah, I did.
But we could do the
Is that okay?
6th.
The 6th I can do.
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes as written for April 6, 2015?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The
Roy,
next,
Jackie had a note that there was another application late submitted
Right.
on Fowler. Is that on in your folder, or
no.
all right, that didn't make it that far then? All right.
So the next meeting of the board will be May 27th, which is not our usual day. It is a
Wednesday.
Wednesday at 5 p.m., followed by the June 1st regularly scheduled public meeting. With that, may I have a motion to close the meeting?
I will so move that this meeting be closed.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.